This Three Beards Media podcast is sponsored by Revelton Distilling Company. When Rob and Chrissy Taylor started following the Kentucky Bourbon Trail in 2012, they fell in love with not only bourbon, but the entire distilling process. Just 8 short years later, in 2020, Revelton Distilling Company was opened, offering an entire family of products including vodka, gin, whiskey, and Revelton Shine. Come visit the tasting room at 1400 West Clay Street in Osceola, Iowa, where you can sample one of their many spirits, including 4 gold medal winners. Can't make it to Osceola today? Not a problem, as you can pick some up at your local Hy-Vee or Fairway grocery stores. Follow Revelton Distilling on Twitter or Instagram at ReveltonDC or their website www.reveltondistilling.com.
This Three Beards Media podcast may contain mature themes, and if you're not down with that, we got 3 words for you. Like the podcast. Nailed it!
Would you like to sample some of my nuts? Hello and welcome to yet again another edition of Old Man Strength, a podcast of Three Beards Media and brought to you by Revelton Distilling Company. I am Tim Johnson, joined as always by Chris Shipley. Chris, how are we doing this evening?
We're doing all right. How are you, Tim?
I'm doing good. It's been a busy week. I'm in the middle of snowpocalypse right now here in Minneapolis. It's supposed to be anywhere from 10 to 300 inches, so we will see how that goes for February.
Some places that's a good night.
I'm gonna let that go. Anyway, I'm really excited to talk to our guest tonight, and so I don't want to spend too much time. I don't want to waste time chit-chatting. So Chris, why don't you go ahead and tell our listeners who we're talking to this evening?
Yeah, we are super honored and privileged to have the one and only Cyclone legend, current NFL New York Jet, Breece Hall, on the pod. Thank you very much, Breece, for giving us your time.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, it's super exciting. Right off the bat, let's find out. I'm sure what everybody's wanting to know. How's your rehab going and how you feeling?
Yeah, it's going really good. You have your up and down days. Days where you feel good and days where everything's hurting, everything sucks. But that's just a part of the process. The rehab process really does suck, but you're getting better. So it's going good every day. I'm running around and stuff now, so it's been cool.
It was definitely, I think, I'm certainly for fans, we were disappointed for you, but it had to be a challenge for what was shaping up to be an absolutely amazing rookie season for you. To have that cut short, but you're actually part of a team surrounded by, I think, some pretty incredible rookies, a good kind of up and coming team in the Jets.
Yeah, it's been cool, just to from the moment we got drafted, we knew our coaches kind of expressed to us you guys are going to be the biggest parts to us winning. We're drafting you guys for it. You guys to come in and for us to give you guys a key so we can win. So it's been cool. We had that confidence from day one that, we knew we could do whatever we wanted. And all we needed was for our, veterans to lead the way for us and just show us the way. And we had it from there with our play. So it's been good.
Yeah. You had quite a few string of weeks of some highlight runs and big plays that we saw you have. What do you think was probably the biggest transition for you going from NFL to Iowa State?
Really, with me, it was just getting comfortable with the offense. That was the biggest thing. I wasn't getting a lot of reps in training camp really or in preseason, so it just took a while for me to get comfortable. But that was my biggest thing. I feel like once I actually got comfortable after the first 3 games, and I was fine from there.
Yeah, I mean, you hear so much people talking about just the fact that the size of players is that much different, or the speed of the game is that much different. But it seemed like it didn't take you very long to adjust to those types of things. But I the schedule is different, the travel is different. Was there anything that was surprising to you?
Nah, look, I knew everything was gonna be a little bit better. You know, traveling's it's a little better. It's a lot more people, but it's a little better, a little easier. You travel a little bit more comfortably. And then like as far as like the size and the speed and stuff, I didn't really care about that. I knew that was gonna you don't really have any choice but to get used to that. So I mean that was gonna come naturally. But the adjustment's been fun. I feel like I have a lot more free time. Outside of football, I'm happy I don't gotta worry about school anymore. Once you exclude school, then you know everything's a little bit easier.
That's the exact opposite for people that leave school and don't have like your career. I always look back fondly and go, man, I wish I had all kinds of free time in college. Then again, my GPA probably showed that too. So some of the great stories that we've heard about you are your mom told us a story about you waiting for some kids after school or after games and just playing catch with them and wanting to meet kids and they wanting to meet you. What have you been able to do now that you're over in New York? Have you been able to keep up with that kind of stuff, or is it a lot harder for you?
Oh yeah, we always do. We're always at like football games. I live pretty close to our practice facility, so there's a few food spots around where I go to. You know, kids always notice me. There's a lot of kids that live in my that live where I live, so you know they're always stopping me to talk to me. You know, just chop it up, take a picture, or whatever. So like anything with kids is cool. And then when I get back home, I always make sure I stop at some high schools or stop at some youth football practices and talk. You know, just because that stuff matters that much. I didn't really have too much of that growing up. I didn't really have anybody I really like looked up to as far as like kids from my city like that are going D1 and really making it. So it's for me to do that is I guess it's real big.
And you've gotten a chance to go back to Ames a couple of times. I know my nephew sent me a picture of you hanging out in front of Cyclone Alley at a basketball game a little while back. Does it feel fun to get back to Ames?
Yeah, it was actually it was a lot more. It was more fun than I thought it was going to be. Like when I got down there, it was a Friday night, and me and some of my teammates we linked up and we ate and just chilled out. And then Saturday morning was the game, so I woke up, ate breakfast, went to the game, or woke up, ate breakfast, worked out, then went to the game. And as soon as I stepped in, you know, everybody like I look a lot different. I grew up. I got my little rehab beard going. I was like keeping a low profile for a while, just walking around like I was a normal person. Then like everybody just starts like staring at me a little bit more. And they're like, "Oh, that's Breece. Oh, that's Breece." And then you know everybody wants to take a picture, and everybody's asking me how I was doing. Everybody's getting loud. You know, I was out there, you know, taking pictures with the student section and you know shooting the t-shirt gun and just like goofing off like I was in college. So it was fun to get back for sure.
Yeah, I heard you took that t-shirt gun and immediately fired one right up into the rafters.
Yeah, I loaded it a little like with the air a little too much, and like I shot it up and it literally went straight up in the air. I was like, shit, but it was fun for sure.
You should have been able to crank the horn. They didn't let you at least crank the horn. That
Oh no, I ain't cranked the horn.
Also, we here at Three Beards Media think you should keep the beard. That seems like a good trademark.
Yeah, I like
it
that.
Looks good on you.
I don't know. I'm having mixed emotions with it because like it just takes so long to come in like as full as I want to. So I'm like I'm over it, but at the same time I'm like I'm keeping faith because I'm seeing the progress. It's just not as fast as I want it
to be. That'll come a time. That'll come a time.
Yeah.
So you know, I think one thing that a lot of Iowa State fans have always appreciated about you is your attitude towards Iowa State, towards the program, famously saying it's a 5-star culture. You were lucky enough to be able to go into the league with a lot of fellow players. It's something that, you know, for Chris and I, we're not used to seeing this many Cyclones in the league at the exact same time. Do you get a chance to talk with some of your fellow Iowa Staters throughout the season?
Yeah, I do. I talk to him like literally every week. You know, when Brock started playing, like he started playing a little after I got hurt. So like we'd be in our group chats sending like big cock Brock memes and like doing a whole bunch of funny shit like that. We talk after every game, every week, so it was cool.
Yeah, I mean that had to have been fun. I think you know, certainly while America was kind of taken by storm by what he did, I think I'm sure for you that was probably not really that much of a surprise.
Yeah, so it was, but like with Brock, like I was surprised, but I wasn't, you know, because like Iowa State, we're not getting all the best recruits, and you know, we kind of had to do more with less in a sense. And then seeing him with all those weapons, I know I could tell like he didn't feel any pressure. He didn't feel like he had to force to make a play. Like he was just out there balling. So I wasn't really too surprised. I was real happy for him that he got his shot. And with him being like the whole Mr. Irrelevant and all that crazy stuff, just his whole story is just like so crazy. And it's a testament to the type of person he is, the type of family he comes from. So like for him, I was just like he kind of like motivated me a little bit, gave me some inspiration because you know when you're injured, you're kind of like down in the dumps. You don't really want to do anything. You're asking yourself like, why me? You don't want to go to rehab and stuff. And seeing him ball out was just like it brought light to me just because I was so happy for him.
Yeah, and now he's just news today that he's kind of got to wait a little bit more on his surgery. So boy, a lot of thoughts and prayers go out to him on rehabbing as well, getting ready for the season. But what do you think it is about Iowa State, about whether it's Coach Campbell or the rest of the coaching staff that helped prepare you guys so well for the NFL?
Really just everything from on the field to more off the field. You know, with me, like Coach Campbell always stressed me like off the field, just always making sure that I was on point. Just making sure that I knew that, you know, I was the face of the program. So everybody knew where I was. Everybody know what my car looks like. Everybody knows where I live. So he just wanted to make sure that I was always sharp and on point and aware of my surroundings and stuff, you know. And then with that, you know, he just always stressed to make sure I was being a good person. You know, he said always told me like being a good person goes a long way. And then on the field, he always stressed to me that talent is never enough because, you know, naturally I always knew I was one of the most talented players. And like my freshman year, the work ethic wasn't always there. So for a while, like they would always like kind of like test me, like fuck with me during workouts, make me do extra reps or, you know, give me a little harder load than other guys had just for them to help me build that little work ethic, that extra work ethic for me to, you know, be willing to, you know, do more. And so I feel like just throughout my whole career, I went from being like that little freshman that, you know, was just out there playing his role to being the guy that everybody looked up to. So just that whole experience of me having to mature in college, like he helped me out a lot with that.
When you were playing before you got injured, you won the offensive rookie of the week a couple times. You got to carry that belt around. Brock won it a couple of times. For Cyclone Nation, I got to tell you that was a pretty surreal moment. And at the end of the year, to know that we could have had two offensive rookie of the year candidates up for the vote, if you wouldn't have got hurt, was kind of mind blowing for us. What surely you thought you had a shot at it. Your teammate won it. Garrett won it. But did you give him a little ribbing and like, you know, if I wouldn't have got hurt, that probably would have been mine?
Yeah, he already. We always joke about it all the time. But if I didn't win it, I either wanted him or Brock to win it. I didn't really want anybody else to. But I feel like we kind of manifested it though. Like after we got drafted, me, Garrett, and Sauce, like, and even Jermaine, like we were like, okay, like we have the best rookies in each position, and we feel like what the roles are going to play, like there's no reason that one of us shouldn't be winning it. So like we kind of knew it was going to happen. It was up to us to just make the plays and ball out.
Your mom admitted on the podcast that when she was on, that she had a dream that you were going to get drafted by Detroit. Did she ever tell you that?
No, I'm not very glad she did.
Who was your team growing up?
I didn't really watch NFL like that. I liked college, so I wasn't really like NFL. To me was like super boring. The games were super long. Like I just never wanted to watch.
No, I mean, I think that's fair. There's something about the college game where I think, the rivalries mean a little bit more, and
Yeah, and
the
to
tighter season means more.
seeing like the teams that just had those like game breakers, like no matter what you do to stop a guy, he's gonna run around, make a play, like regardless of you guys having the perfect defense or whatever to stop it. Like some guys in college are just too much. They're more athletic, bigger, faster, so you can't really do anything to stop them. So like I played quarterback growing up, so like my favorite player was Braxton Miller for a while from Ohio State. Like
Sure.
I thought he was like a god, and then it went from him. I like Cam Newton, Marcus Mariota, Johnny Manziel, and then running backs. It was always the regular like Reggie Bushes and Michael James and just all the top guys, Carlos Hyde, and then Ezekiel Elliott and Melvin Gordon and just all those type of guys. So it's just I really just watched everybody.
That's awesome. What would you tell young guys coming up about Iowa State and why they should go to Iowa State?
See, I've never been the type to like tell somebody like you should go to Iowa State over this college. Like some guys aren't like Iowa State isn't for everybody. So it's like at the end of the day, you got to pick where you want to be. But I'd say like if Iowa State was getting their recruits that these other schools got, we'd be a top tier team. Because if you look at like our record might not always show, but if you look at the scores and like how we're playing, and then look at like the recruits we're getting compared to other schools, it's like okay, these guys are doing a lot more with less, and that's a testament to our coaches and the development that they're putting us like willing to have us put us through. And I feel like Iowa State's different from a lot of places just because it's not as much business. Like guys aren't going there for NIL money. Guys are going there because they sold a vision. And Coach Campbell isn't one of those guys. It's all about giving money for guys to go there. He's going there. He wants to make you a better person, a better football player. He wants you to be like as much as he's worried about football, he wants you to be a great husband, a great father, like just those little things. So it goes a lot more than just being a football player.
So you mentioned appreciating having a little bit more free time, not having class, and obviously you're continuing your rehabilitation. But what does this off season look like for you?
Rehab 5, sometimes 6 days a week for like 4 or 5 hours. Come home. If I'm exhausted, I nap. And I'm a big gamer and TV. I'm getting into a lot of TV shows and movies now. So like just for me, like I want to go have fun. I want to take trips and stuff, but also focus on like I know I can be one of the best running backs in the NFL. I know I could, do whatever I want in this league, but I can't do that unless I'm healthy. So right now my biggest priority is just me being healthy. So I kind of put all my off-season plans on hold right now and focus on, just being healthy and finding more faith in God, becoming, just giving my faith in him more and really just trying to enjoy this process. I didn't realize how much I really miss playing football until I got hurt. Nobody really likes to practice all the time or nobody wants to sit there and watch film all the time. But I miss being around the guys. Like I was always in the training room all day. Nobody was ever really in there. I was in there by myself. Knee was always hurt and I was ready to cry during workouts because I wasn't used to it and stuff like that. So you just kind of learn to appreciate it more. And I'd be the first to tell you, I never really, as a running back, I never really had to watch loads of film or I never really had to practice the most, but you learn to appreciate that stuff when you just don't do it anymore.
We like to do some different stuff here on Old Man Strength. So I'm going to ask you kind of a fun question. You mentioned streaming, you like to watch some TV. What's a show that you're streaming right now? What's Breece Hall streaming right now that you probably would get made fun of by everybody else?
I feel like there's no show I watch that I will get made. Nothing. I watch all the regular stuff. Like Outer Banks is my favorite show. There's a good show on Netflix called Kaleidoscope. I started The Last of Us. What else do I watch? Euphoria. I actually do watch kind of a weird show. It's called Lucifer.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's about the devil, but he comes to Earth and he is like a detective or whatever. It's like super weird, but it's good. So if I gotta make fun of anything, it'd probably be that. But I think also like I like to watch a lot of YouTube. So people will make fun of me about like I like to watch Madden YouTubers. I used to play a lot of Madden, so I'm cool with a lot of them. Like I text back and forth with a lot of them. So I watch a lot of Madden, and sometimes like guys will come up behind me and see what I'm watching on my trainers and see what like why are you watching these dudes play video games? And it's like it's not just because they're playing video games, it's because they're actually really funny on their streams and stuff like that. So that's part of the reason why I watch them.
Well,
that's the older generation because I don't get that either. So.
Well, I just like the idea that you're watching a video game of your job. I can't imagine Chris watching a video. I can't even imagine playing a video game about my job, let alone watching someone else play a video game about my job.
What's crazy is that one of the most famous Madden YouTubers, he went to Iowa State. And
oh, really?
Yeah. So like I didn't realize it, but I was watching one of his streams one day, and he gave me a shout out. And so I had, and yeah, he gave me a shout out. And he's like, yeah, shout out Breece Hall. You know, I went to Iowa State. I used to love watching him. And I was like, oh shit, that's crazy. So me and him got in contact, and we've been cool ever since. So just like, it's just little things like that. Like it's a small world. So you never know like what type of connections you can make, who you can know, and what relationships you could build.
That's pretty funny.
I'd have to imagine that's something that, going from, a relatively small school in a small state like Iowa to playing in a market like the New York market, just the access to and in, a giant league, having access to people and things that I think you probably couldn't even imagine before.
Yeah. Just realizing like how much bigger your name can be. And then that also came with me picking the agency I picked, which is Clutch Sports, which is one of the probably the top agency right now. And with LeBron, it's with like guys like LeBron, Anthony Davis, Donovan Mitchell, like De'Aaron Fox, just guys like that. And like I've gotten to do so many cool things such as going to NBA games, going to Super Bowl events, Pro Bowl events, just like different stuff like that. I got to meet LeBron myself, and Anthony Davis myself. Rich Paul, he's the CEO of Clutch, and just talking to him, just like all the opportunities I've gotten. And one thing I'm trying to get more into is like fashion and stuff like that, because I've never really been into clothes. I have a ton of shoes, but no clothes. So I'm trying to get more into but it's because I still like being comfy so much, so I can just throw on sweats in the hoodie every day and be fine. I don't really care. So just being in New York, there's so many things we can get into. There's so many like different types of food places, different types of fashion stores to go to. I've been to like just different it's just the whole lifestyle is different. Everything's a little more upscale. Like you could go play mini golf and you'll think it's the bougiest thing in the world. You could go bowl thing in the world. Like you can go on single day cruises for a few hours on boats on the water. It's just all the different things you can get into is crazy.
Who's your flashiest, sharpest dressing teammate? Who's the who's the most fashion conscious?
I'd say Quan Alexander, linebacker. There's another linebacker, Jamie and Sherwood. They both put a fit on whenever. Quentin Williams dresses really good. His brother Quincy dresses really good. Garrett Wilson too. Garrett every week doesn't fail. But Garrett, see, the thing I appreciate about Garrett is like his whole persona is like different. Like his personality is different. His the way he dresses is different, and this like the way he goes about things is different. He's almost like a cool nerd in a way. Nerd. And the thing I appreciate about him most is that he's comfortable in his own skin. Like he doesn't change for anybody. So just like in learning to be around guys like that, like him, like Sauce, Jermaine, like Quan, just all the guys on our team, just seeing how different their personalities are, but they're unique. It's just been cool to be around all these different people.
Oh, that's super fantastic. Cool. Well, Breece, I got to tell you, we have another podcast called Sigh of the Storm. It's got Marcus Pfizer and Bert Curvey and George Trice on it. And I got a text from them about an hour and a half ago going, Can someone explain to me why Breece Hall is going on Old Man Strength and not Side of the Storm? So,
Tell him to hit me up, and I got him for sure.
all right. So, I'll pass your number to him if that's all right, and then
Yeah,
George will reach out. George runs the Trice Legacy Foundation that is a scholarship for kids at East Tech, from where Jack was, and is involved a lot with the 100-year anniversary. So I would love to be able to connect you too, if that's all right.
Please, yeah, that's cool.
Awesome, Breece.
Well, we know you got to go. I want to ask one last question. This kind of the whole ethos of this podcast is that we know it all and we have advice for everyone, which we know is entirely not true. But you are someone who probably has advice, particularly for younger kids or high school kids. What advice do you like to give those kids?
I always tell kids, like, if people don't tell you your dreams are too big, then they're not big enough. You can do anything you want to, but I also have to tell kids, like, there's a billion other kids trying to do the same thing you do. So what are you going to do to be different? Like, what are you going to do to separate yourself? Whether it's putting in the extra work, and that's usually the biggest thing, just your work ethic, how much extra you're willing to do, how much you're willing to do when people aren't looking. And it even comes with little things. Like, I knew I was different growing up, just because of, like, how much I really, like, genuinely love sports. Like, I love to watch YouTube videos and then go outside and practice every move that I saw till I got it down. Like, you could ask my mom, like, I'd be outside playing basketball, it's pouring rain outside, it's storming. She's telling me to come outside. I'm telling her, no, I want to get a few extra shots up. Like, I used to be able to go to the Y and stay at the Y for 8, 9 hours all day, just playing pickup with my friends and playing with the older guys. And I used to be able to sit out at football practice and get extra working on drills all day. Just those little things that, like, you can tell, like, that a kid's gonna be different just from him doing little things like that. And that's how I knew I was different from a lot of people. That's how I knew I really love sports, just because of, those little tedious things that I was willing to do to, just not even realizing that it was getting myself better, but it was getting me better just because of the extra work I was willing to put in.
I think that's great advice. I like the idea of if people aren't telling you your dreams are too big, they're not big enough. I think that's great. Chris, what other questions do you have for Breece before we let him go?
Breece, I don't have anything else for you. I know that your time is limited. I wanted to thank you again for coming on. We would love to be able to have you back on when you have more time, if you're all right with that.
For sure.
I will be remiss if I didn't say that my daughter told me that her best friend Bridget was your biggest fan. And I'm getting text messages over here that if I don't mention that, and my nephew Landon.
Hi Bridget, how are you doing?
There you go. And my nephew Landon ordered 2 Breece Hall jerseys, and he well, I probably shouldn't have said that because I think they might be for his birthday. Shit.
Hey, tell Landon I said, what's up, dog? How are you doing? I appreciate you for everything, and keep rooting for the Cyclones and keep rooting for the Jets. I appreciate them.
I think they make Jets jerseys in a 4X, so I'm gonna order one.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, Breece, thank you again for coming on Old Man Strength. Tell your mom we say hi. Always enjoy chatting with her as well. So, man, we cannot thank you enough. We'll look forward to seeing what next season brings for you.
Oh yeah, I got something in store for sure. Thank you guys for having me. I'll definitely be back.
Excellent.
Awesome. Thanks, Breece. Have a great night.
You too.
At Revelton Distilling Company, everyone has become a part of the Revelton family. From the Taylors and their daughter who helped perfect their award-winning gins, to the team who installed Lucy, our 33-foot-tall custom-made still, right down to the local farms that provide our coveted corn, and even the cows on those farms who consume our mash byproduct. Want to see the farm to flask come to life? Now you can tour Lucy and find out where we take Iowa's harvest and transform it into our finest spirits. Choose between a 45-minute tour or find out even more by scheduling a VIP behind-the-scenes tour to get the taste of the full Revelton experience. You can visit them at 1400 West Clay Street in Osceola, Iowa, or find all of Revelton's award-winning spirits at any local grocery or spirits retailer.
awesome. He's a super great guy. What a nice guy for him to come back on.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly very kind of mild mannered, humble yet confident. But super down to earth, and I can't imagine what it's like to go into a large market like that, into a large enterprise like the NFL, and keep your head on your shoulders properly. And it seems like he's done so much right about that. But again, knowing his mom, it does not surprise me that he has kept himself level-headed.
Yeah, no, for sure. That good family, and I was rooting so hard for him this year to watch him play. I think he fell in the draft, but I think he fell in a perfect spot, to be honest with you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he was able to pick up. He wasn't necessarily going to be the sole back, the sole workload carrier, but he established himself very, very quickly as that guy that was the go-to in the future of running back for that franchise.
Yeah. Well, so I know a lot of people listened tonight to get with Breece. So what I thought we'd do is we maybe take the rest of this time and let's introduce ourselves to some new listeners and tell them what we're about. And then I thought maybe what we would do is compare some Iowa State running back lists and see who we think is on our list here. So
Perfect. Well, why don't we go ahead and grab a word from our sponsor, and then we will be back in just a second.
awesome.
Perfect.
All right, let me write that down. That's at the 27-minute mark. Okay.
And we are back. Once again, this is Old Man Strength, in case you forgot what you were listening to, because you only tuned in to listen to Breece. But I tell you what, if you're still listening at this point, we thank you guys very much. You can go ahead and check out not only Old Man Strength, but all of the podcasts on the Three Beards Media Network. Little something for everyone. Chris and I might both be Cyclones, but we even allow some Hawkeyes to have some podcasts on here as well. But
That's right.
yeah, Chris mentioned right there before the break that if this is your first time listening to us, the idea of this is that Chris and I are just a couple old guys who we just have life all figured out. Really, I think. Which is not anywhere near the truth, but Chris and I do like to much like old men do like to reminisce about the past as well.
That's right. We are about the past, which means what we're going to do is we're going to look at this list of Cyclone running backs and maybe kind of banter back and forth with who we think should be top 5.
Sure. I like top 5.
All right. So I will rank them 5 to 1.
Okay.
Let me write this down. My number 5 is going to be Blaze Bryant, simply for the hair factor alone.
the hair factor alone, sure. I mean, also what he did in what was that, 1989? Probably puts him that might be a single season top 3 or 4 or 5 or something like that.
Yeah,
yeah,
he was playing there when I was a freshman. That was the team that and him was the guy that made me kind of fall in love with cycling sports. So yeah, shortly after, our man George Condit Sr. was playing on the defensive line over there. So
yeah, that's true.
5 for you. You're number 5.
Blaze is probably 5 as well. Yeah, absolutely. Oh no, he might be higher. Darren Davis actually might be number 5 for me.
He surprisingly did not make my top 5.
It doesn't surprise me. He's certainly in the shadow of his older brother. Also, um, his teams are slightly different, but what he did for a career, I think, is still absolutely legendary. And being the running back to help take down Iowa certainly helps his cause as well.
Yeah, I think if there'd have been a longer gap between him and Troy, I think he would probably be more appreciated. But they all run so close together that I think it's unfairly kind of lumps him in there.
Sure. All right. So then, who would be your number 4?
Enos Haywood.
Ennis Haywood is a very good one. Certainly pivotal on those teams that helped kind of bring Iowa State back to bowl games and certainly a great player on some teams that actually started to have some real national presence as well. That Insight bowl game against Pitt, that team that finished 9-3. It was
9-3.
Yep.
Sage was in the backfield, was quarterbacking.
Yep.
I just loved the way he ran. And he was, I think, for me, just tough. That's what I embedded. He was more of that battering ram type guy that I really liked.
I think that's certainly certainly a good pick as well. Oh boy, my number 4. I don't know. Ennis is a good pick. Alexander Robinson might be up there as number 4. Yeah, it'd probably have to be between one of those two.
I forgot about him.
uh,
Those ones during that era are because they played so many different running backs at that time that sometimes he gets lost in the shuffle too, I think.
Yeah, no, there have been so many decent. There's some pretty great running backs at Iowa State in Iowa State history. It's certainly when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about my life, right? Like I don't remember seeing Dwayne Crutchfield play.
I don't either. And I was just thinking him too. And I was just thinking some people are probably screaming into their phones right now. But he didn't make the cut for me. I just had never seen him play. Unfairly didn't.
Yep.
I can't rank him. So, number 3 for me is David Montgomery.
Same.
And that's hard to have him at 3 because I love him to death. I have such admiration for him, and he's a Bear, so it's extremely hard. And on a side note, I saw some douchebag on Fox Sports 1 today talk about how they should sign Saquon Barkley and let Montgomery go, and I about lost my mind.
Interesting. It's an interesting take.
I'll give you the reason why. If we're gonna go off on a tangent, I'll give you the reason why. Not that you care 2 shits about the Chicago Bears whatsoever or any of the other listeners, but we have so much cap space and so many holes that we should not be spending a shit ton of money on Saquon Barkley when we can take that money, put it on the offensive and defensive line, shore up the offensive line, re-sign David at a lower price, and still load up on some wide receivers and so on in the draft. That's why I think. I think if you pay Barkley a huge amount of money, he's a running back. You don't spend that kind of money on a running back. You can get David Montgomery, who can get. He's not the player that Saquon is, but for the amount of money that you could pay him as opposed to Saquon and move that other money along the line, I think is better.
No, I certainly think that's fair. I think particularly the way running back has changed in the NFL. 15 years ago there weren't running backs by committee, and now it seems like there's nobody who gets the majority of touches. Unless your name is Christian McCaffrey, a lot of running backs are sharing touches with someone else. And so why would you invest that much in any one player? Certainly. And I mean, the 49ers are a perfect example of a team that spent money in the right places and saved because they saved money in other places. Right.
Right.
And all the more reason to roll with Trey Lance and Brock Purdy into next season is that, on those rookie contracts, you still got them for a steal. You can invest that money elsewhere.
Yep. No, I agree 100%.
All right, so number 3 was David Montgomery. I think we both agree on that one.
Yes. Now the question is obviously I think we both have the top 2. Do we have them ranked the same? Sorry. I will just preface it by saying that my list changed after 2 years ago. Breece has moved into my number 1 spot. And that's really hard because Troy Davis, consecutive 2,000-yard seasons, the only man in the history of college football to do it on teams that were absolutely atrocious by the stretch. But I have Troy 2 and Breece 1.
Yeah, I'm still conflicted on that. What Troy did, like you said, the back-to-back 2000 seasons. But the fact that there weren't other weapons, my mom knew they were going to hand it to Troy every single time, and she doesn't watch football, right? Like,
Right.
They could have stacked a billion guys against him, and he was still able to do. It's just hard to compare. It's hard to compare Breece and Troy for a lot of reasons. The teams were different, the weapons were different, the style of play was different. Troy wasn't playing in an era with this much passing, right? It's just a very different thing. Oh man, are you gonna make me pick between the two of them?
Yeah, you have to. You're the GM of you're the AD of Iowa State. You got Troy Davis, you got Breece Hall in the backfield. Who's getting the starting nod?
No, I think I'm gonna agree with you on Breece. I think what he did, I mean, for all of Troy's rushing records, Breece's 50 touchdowns is completely feels like an untouchable record for anybody. I also think what he brought and some of the other intangibles at Iowa State and what I see in his NFL career already. I think he's a sneaky good receiving running back. He's developed his game as a blocker as well. I think, boy, it's tough to pick that though. It really is.
Yeah, it's a rough problem to have, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But no, I think,
we could be Iowa. Our top 2 could be Kevin Harmon and Ronnie Harmon. How many fumbles in a bowl game?
Yeah, it's one of those things where some schools are known for a particular position, and it's kind of like Iowa State men's basketball point guard seems to stand out way beyond anything else, and I think running back for Iowa State definitely seems to be a position that for whatever reason, even in down years, it always seems to have some talent there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that wasn't near as controversial as I thought. I thought for sure we were going to argue about that. That's usually what we do is argue.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like the Blaze Bryant pick. I actually, boy, why did I bring him up just the other day? I mentioned something about Blaze Bryant. So he's definitely somebody that I'm still reminded of regularly to this day. But
I think Blaze is in real estate in Dallas right now. I stumbled upon his page on Facebook and follow it, and every once in a while he gets shown up on my feed a little bit. So he also, FYI, does not have his hair anymore.
I was gonna say I can't imagine he still has the hair.
Oh, well, as you can hear, I'm struggling over here with my cough. It's been a couple weeks for me.
Yeah, I've basically been perpetually sick for the last 2 weeks as well.
Stacy was sick all last week, and I thought I was gonna not get it. And for those of you that are out there know, my mom is in the hospital and had emergency surgery last week. And so I was dealing with that going in there and didn't get a lot of sleep last week. And then I woke up Sunday morning with a kind of a scratchy throat. It's been off and on, and now I've got a cough, and I'm just coughing up a bunch of gunk. So,
Boy, we are putting the old man in old man strength here tonight.
I
Talking
know.
about.
I'll tell you how old I am. I got excited. It was 6:00. I watched the evening news, and then I watched the Wheel of Fortune. So, because I'm nothing but a stereotype.
Oh, I'd make fun of you, but I was just thinking about how much I just need to have a hot bath. So,
there you go.
yeah,
See?
no, I'm
That's
right
what
there
I'm
with you.
saying.
Yeah.
And I'm hooking up with George on Saturday. We're gonna go down to Revelton to see Rob and Christy. Gonna get George introduced down there. I think John Walling might come down with us and Brent Curvey. So
Oh, fantastic.
yeah, be a good little time. So if you're out and about and you guys want to hit something up, go hit up Rob down at Revelton. So
Excellent. Well, Chris, between everything we've got going on, why don't we go ahead and wrap this one up a little bit early? I'm excited to know though that we'll get a chance to talk with Breece again. And we've again, as always, we've got some more exciting things in the works with Three Beards Media. Any other things you kind of want to highlight as we wrap this thing up?
yeah, so Side of the Storm is going strong. Bitter Units. You guys have hit a couple episodes lately, so you guys are up and running. Things are going really well. We are working on that merchandise site, so that's going to be up here in the next week or so. Amy's working hard on that from Hot Mess Happy Hour. And I am working with Paul and Heather to get the Inside the Tape pod launched and so on. The one thing I do want to talk a little bit about is the series that we did with Kyle Lehman. We did a Q&A with Kyle Lehman on first-time homebuyer questions. Caitlin, my daughter, and her boyfriend Walker kind of walked through the process a little bit. There's some really good information in there. So that's out on our YouTube channel. We're also inserting some of those ads in our pods and things like that. So be sure to go to the YouTube channel, threebeardsmedia.com. Check out that Q&A by Kyle at Wintrust Mortgage.
We take a minute from this Three Beards Media podcast to listen to a word from our sponsor, Kyle Lehman at Wintrust Mortgage, from our series of questions on what to expect when buying a home for the first time.
Right. And I think a big problem we see too is the spreading of misinformation on social media. So especially for people our age, it's kind of hard to know, okay, well, my dad and my parents and aunts and uncles might say one thing, but then
Right,
other
you have
people
all these
Mhm.
flooded mixed feelings coming towards you from both sources, but
Yeah, so it's
we
really
know that
nice.
you're in the position you are in for a reason, and that's why we're talking to you today.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I think to your point, it's with anything, right? You can find the answer that you want to any question if you go on the internet. Personally, I believe that people should do a 30-year mortgage, and if you can make payments ahead, then that's the way to do it. Unless you're a little bit further down along in life and have your career established and really things figured out, that 15-year loan is such a bigger payment than the 30. You can always pay ahead on the 30-year loan, but if you do a 15-year mortgage with a much larger payment, that's the payment that you have to make. There's no way around that, right?
So
Excellent. Well, folks, with that, I know this one's a little bit shorter, but I'm sure you're grateful to not hear us hacking and coughing and almost dying on the mics this evening.
I know, man. I almost took one for the team here about 5 minutes ago.
Well, I've got to get up early because I know I'm gonna have about 7 feet of snow that I'm gonna have to clear out of the driveway and see if I can't ride a tauntaun to work in the morning. So
hopefully he doesn't die before the first marker.
Yeah. Do you know? Incidentally, do you know what the temperature inside a tauntaun is?
I do not.
It's lukewarm. Yeah. I know.
By the way, speaking of tauntauns and Star Wars, our buddy Bill called me out on the last pod.
He did.
I didn't put Star Wars in the top 5. And just so you know, he's 100% right. It should be in my top 5. I just was trying not to be. I was trying to be more educated and be a little more elitist and not put Star Wars on there. So in reality, I put that Planet of the Apes on there, and that was not really true. I don't really care for that movie.
How funny.
So there you go, Bill. You were right.
Oh, right now I can hear Bill saying, "No, I know."
Yeah, right.
Perfect.
I don't need to tell him that.
Exactly. All right. Well, listener, once again, please go ahead and check out all the pods on Three Birds Media. Go and check us out on our socials. You can find Chris on Twitter, SideGrad, SideDad. I am Tim Johnson, MN. For all complaints, whatever Aaron Wall's Twitter handle is, please go send them there.
Aaron handles the complaints for Three Beers Media.
Exactly. So anyway, listener, we thank you very, very much. Please go ahead and stick with us. Download, like, rate, subscribe, all of those things. We appreciate it very much. And with that, we will see you guys next time.